Hi folks, and welcome to another episode, and welcome to the Maxus T90 EV. Please remember to check out our other videos and click on the subscribe button and click on the bell icon so you get notifications each time we upload another video. Alright, let's give you a quick walk around it. So this is big. It's the only way I can describe it. It's a full-size pickup, the same as what you would see on the roads pretty much everywhere now. Pretty much identical in size to the Ford Ranger is probably the best comparison I can give you. Sits very high, and obviously it's got the low bed. I think the chrome bars on the top are an optional extra. Just give it a little bit of schwang, if you like, make it look a bit prettier. But as you can see, it's long. I'll just overlay a picture now. I took it out over the weekend and wanted to park it in a parking space. I ended up having to put the back end into a bush to get it so it just fitted, because it is, well, as I said, very, very long. Also, them wheels, the upgraded wheels, they're not standard. The front end for me, well, that's grown on me. At first I thought, people have said it looks like a transformer. I actually quite like it. We've got LED DRLs, we've got LED indicators, but unfortunately the headlights are halogen projectors. Now, I have driven it at night, and actually they're pretty good. Obviously got that yellow tinge to them, and I know this is meant for an agricultural purpose and just to work, but I would like LEDs, especially for the price that we're paying for this vehicle. Okay, you can stick 1,000 kilos in there, which is pretty good. Now, originally we were going to use this at work, but it was meant to have a box on the back and it didn't, so we couldn't. But actually, we also found out that this tailgate isn't lockable, so there's no way of locking this. So that obviously gave us a safety issue, a security issue with our tools, so it wasn't used as we had originally planned. But that's pretty robust. You can stand on that, sit on it, and yeah, it's quite a big area. I think what you see here is pretty standard. It comes with this sort of protection over it, and it feels like it's pretty hard wearing, and it needs to be, because most people will probably be filling this with gravel and all sorts of work gear, wheelbarrows and all the other amazing things that builders and farmers alike use. Okay, got LED tail lights on the back. They're the only LED lights on the back. The brake lights, indicators and the fog light are all incandescent, and you also get these steps here, so if you don't want to put the tailgate down, you can just stand on here and pull yourself in. But yeah, big space, and it does feel very, very solid and agricultural. Four door, you've got these nice chunky grab handles here, and I'll be honest, you need those because they've also added this step here, which is right in the wrong place. It's just not the right height at all for me. Florence or Kate, what you tend to do is swing your leg out and then graze your leg on this. So I probably wouldn't have those, to be honest. I'd rather just use a grab handle and jump straight in like that. Sitting in the back, there is plenty of room. These rubber mats are an option. If I just arch myself up, spin the camera, you can also lift up the rear seats. Tyre repair kit, I mean, we know historically they don't work, and that is a warning triangle, so let's drop them back down. Oh, and there's your emergency release there for your charging port. Let's drop that back down. That's down. You can also bring the rear bench forward, and there is enough space there for another charging cable, but not a lot else. Tiny bit of space. Get the rear centre armrest with two cup holders, which is useful, and you also get a rear interior light, and at night that works really well. 12 volt power outlet, and then you've got a 220 volt 150 watt outlet, a plug that I did not recognize, but I'm sure there's some adapter for that you can get, where you can maybe charge battery drills, laptops or things alike. We've also got a couple of mat pockets on the rear seats just there, and we're electric windows on the back. They are, although they're electric, they're not one touch. And then you've got another drink holder there and quite a big door card, but a nice sound when you shut the door. Not bad. Again, coming into the front, got your window switches there, lock and unlock, and then you can lock the rear windows to stop passengers using it. Electric mirrors. These mirrors are huge, really good visibility there. You've got really good vis throughout, to be honest. There's a lot of glass in here. You have a little bit of storage just here, which is quite useful. There's a release for the charge port. You may have heard that. Sounds very agricultural as well. Yeah. The charging speeds we've seen were 70 kilowatts. It has 70 kilowatts up to 86%. So about a 38-minute charge, I think it was. And that got us up to a decent high point, ready for us to carry on our journey. Very agricultural feeling. And that. In the driver's seat, you can see we have driven 211 miles exactly. Got a cup holder just to the right. That's quite useful, especially if you've got a cold drink. You can blow the aircon straight over it. And the HVAC in this is brilliant. The aircon is very, very cold, and the heater is very, very hot. So no problems there at all. In terms of range, it genuinely isn't an issue. I drove this 110 miles. I've got 218 miles range there. Drove it 110 miles home. I got home with 50% and I left with 100%, and that was at 70, albeit conditions were good. I quite like these clocks as well. If I just switch it off, you can see there that I originally thought that they were just the clocks and we had a couple of needles, but no, that's actually what we get, and I quite like it. Quite easy to read. Coming across, we've also got Apple CarPlay, works really well. No latency. Apple CarPlay is actually very good, and it does everything that you need it to do, albeit there is only 2 speakers in this, one there and one down there, and I quite like my music, and the stereo is a little bit tinny. Got a tiny bit of storage up on the top there for paperwork and things, although I feel like they could have added a decent size sort of lock top there for stopping things rolling around the dashboard. If you go into a corner a bit quick, I'm sure you could lose something off that. Looking up at the roof line, this is what I mean by agricultural. It's just made solid. You've got a sunglasses holder, which is nice. I wouldn't mind one of those in all of the cars we've got. No vanity mirrors on the sun visors, unfortunately, but I don't think that is the type of person this is aimed at. Again, another cup holder there, and then the glove box. I mean, it could be bigger, but it's quite deep. You've got all your service information and stuff in there, so that works okay. In the center, we've got a little bit of storage down there as well. 2 cup holders here, and then rotary dial for your drive, neutral and reverse. And then that brings on your reversing camera, which is a bit small. I think they could have made that a little bit bigger. The clarity isn't the finest. It does have reversing bleepers and they seem to work all right. I did try this at night and it was okay. The reverse lights made it usable. I think if the reverse lights weren't as bright as they were, that probably wouldn't be great at night, but it does work. There's no park pull on this vehicle. This is a rear wheel drive, so there's no lock, so you can't put it in park and then take the handbrake off and it'll lock. That's not happening. If I take the handbrake off now, the vehicle will roll away. HVAC controls are all touch. They seem to work okay, and unlike my MG, these are the same company that it's SAIC who own both of these. this works really well, and it doesn't bring up this whole screen display every time you do something. So if I turn the fan up, you can see there it just brings up this little bar, and I like that. Much more useful than completely drowning out the whole screen. Now on the steering controls, now this is a big thing. All you've got is volume. You can flick a song on, you can answer the phone, put it down, change the source, and you can mute the music. That's it. There's no real drive aids on this. There's no cruise control, adaptive cruise control, or anything like that. And also, this is quite a big one, the indicators are here and the wipers are here, which reminds me of an MR2 I used to have back in the day. And the Japanese did the same thing. You do get used to it, but ideally I'd like them on the other side. And our MG, made by the same company, and it's an older vehicle, the indicators are on the right side. I'm sure there's a perfectly rational engineering reason for this, or manufacturing reason for this, but that needs to be changed, in my opinion. All right, let's get under the bonnet. If I can, one hand, and it's on rams. I do like that, but when you look inside, God, the space, it is just cavernous, absolutely cavernous. So much space there that I feel that actually, if they wanted to, they could have put a decent sized frunk in here. This is a big old space. Huge 12-volt battery. You can see the traction battery, which is gargantuan. You can also see there's a blanked off HV plug there. When I saw that, I just assumed that's going to be for the front motor, for the 4-wheel drive version that they're bringing out, and it's in the right place because it's going to come straight out the front. This is rear-wheel drive, powers at the rear, so that's already catered for. And then you can see your onboard charger and all your other bits and bobs. Pretty well laid out, pretty easy to work on, I'd say. But again, a little bit of a waste of space. Now I'm just going to look in the rear axle here. You can see there are 4 leafs on that leaf spring, and it is also a solid back beam, which is pretty standard for a pickup truck. And just here you can see the motor, and up there you can see the inverter, all water cooled. Some people express some concern with ground clearance, but actually the lowest point is the differential. I am a little bit concerned about the fact that this is aluminium, and one good hard whack on some dodgy roads, I feel like it could crack. Maybe I'm wrong, maybe it's made out of some ultra thick aluminium, but I feel that actually there's a bit of a case where this could get hit, and that might cause some problems. But pretty much, apart from this being bolted to the rear diff instead of a prop shaft and going up to a transfer box or the gearbox, as you would on an internal combustion car, as you would on an internal combustion pickup, this is pretty standard. But what I will say is pickup trucks are historically bouncy, harsh rides, especially when they're empty. What this does is it adds to the unsprung mass. Now, unsprung mass, for any of you that don't know, is the weight that's underneath the springs. So it's unsprung. This is the bit that gets thrown around, and the more weight you have, the slower the reaction time of the axle. Add that to a solid beam that we've got here, which transfers anything that happens on this wheel, happens on this wheel. You know, it has a reaction. Four leaves on a leaf spring, and you can understand that when it's empty, it's got a definite reaction time, and you can feel that in the drive. But again, this is made for a purpose. It's made to go to work hard, and not to be driven around like a Chelsea tractor. I am now delivering this back to Rigor in Reading, so let's have a chat about the way it drives and the way it sounds when you're driving slowly. Can you hear that? Oh, it's horrific. It turns off at 20 miles an hour, but it's so loud, so loud. It's actually got a very nice high up driving position, and that is one of the things I really like about it. It's also got a cracking turning circle. For a big old bus, you can get this round pretty much anywhere. I've not come across any situations where I'm thinking, nah, I'm not going to get it round. There you go, the noise has gone off now, much better. So the Maxus has 3 settings. You can either have it in power, normal or eco, and there's also some downhill driving control buttons and traction control off, but not a lot else. So I'm going to put it in power. I'm going to do a quick 0 to 60 down this lane, and let's see how it goes. 3, 2, 1. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. Okay, you're not going to break any land speed records in this, and this isn't the best lane to do it, but it's got enough poke. I do feel that it could have a bit more, and I feel that if you were towing, you had something on the bed. In the higher speeds, I feel that it's slightly underpowered, if I'm honest. I feel that towing, there's going to be times when you're putting your foot down and it's possibly not going to be doing the job for you. So I would, if you were thinking of buying one, I would definitely get something hitched up to the back, drag it around a little bit and have a good try with it and make sure it works for you, because you wouldn't want to buy it on the pretense that it can tow anything up to 1500 kilos, up anything in any conditions, and it's going to work for you. But I might be wrong. I'm not a pickup kind of guy driver, so maybe it'll be okay. If I put my foot down now, yeah, it's got plenty of poke. Regen, that's also lacking in my opinion. It's a bit slow to transition from on the power to into regen. There's a bit of a delay where the clock creeps around, it goes into regen and nothing really seems to happen, and then suddenly it comes in. Again, if you were towing a trailer or you had weight on the bed, I feel that the regen wouldn't be sufficient. Unfortunately, that's just down to the size of the motor. You can't regen more than you can pump out of the motor, so it's kind of restricted. Now, the build in here is just hard plastics everywhere. The seats are very firm. They feel like they're designed to last. Again, it's that same thing, agricultural, ready to go to work, ready to get dirt all over them and then wipe clean. It's exactly what it's for. But I've kind of warmed to it. If you'd have asked me to talk about this a week ago, it would have been quite negative. But having rethought what this vehicle's about, I actually quite like it. Would we have one? No, definitely not. It's not the right vehicle for us, based on price, efficiency, a lot of different things. But it has got a place, and if this can take a Ford Ranger off the road, for example, and do the same job, then why not?
Now, it's worth mentioning that since filming, you can now pick up the T90EV second hand for around £36,000 plus VAT, which, compared to many 4x4s, is not bad. And the T90EV is due to come in a 4x4 configuration, which is much more suitable for this line of work and much more desirable too.